Hello everyone, myself Ravin. Welcome to my channel CodeBeans, and in this video we will know more about integers, floats, strings and some of their basic operations. So let's begin. I have already opened the interpreter. Currently I'm using 3.9.12, which is the Python version, but if you are getting something like, let's say, 3.6, 3.5, it is also okay, because from the beginner's point of view, the major differences lies only in Python 3 and Python 2. Like, you should not be having something like Python 2 point something. It should be 3 point whatever is there. That's also okay to work with. So let's come with the first term, integers. So if a number can be represented in the form of p by q, where q is equal to 1, we can say it's an integer. Suppose that 2 by 1 is an integer, 1 by 1 is an integer, 4 by 1 is an integer. Okay, similar to what we have studied in maths. Okay, so now how to assign values to variables. Similar to maths, x is equal to 2. So here what we are doing is we assign the value 2 to the variable x. Again, similar to our class 4th, class 5th mathematics. Now I'm pressing the return button. Return means enter. So now the interpreter knows that there is a variable x which have a value 2, which is integer type. So how do I know it is integer type? So there is a function called type. So in this, if we pass any variable, it will tell us that it is, in this case, integer, or the class of that variable. Okay. So now let's say we want to know what is x plus 1. Simple adding numbers. It will say it's 3. Now let's try to print the value of x. It's still 2, because we have asked interpreter only to add 1 to x, not to update the value of x. Let's say we want to update the value of x. We will do something like this. Now in this statement, what will happen is everything that is on the right hand side of this equal sign will first get computed, then will be assigned to the variable which is on the left hand side. Okay. Okay, so now let's try to see the value. Now it is 3. So earlier it was 2, now it is 3. Now suppose for some reason you want to get out of this interpreter, you can use this function and just hit return, and then you will be out. Right. Now let's say we want to, there's another cool function which is clear. It's a command for terminal. You can use it in Linux and Mac both. I press the return. Now everything about it is cleaned. So let's run it again. Now let's try to print the value of x. It says there is no like name x is not defined, because see, this is a new session of our interpreter. When I exited the interpreter and I came back, now it is a new session and there is no variable x defined in it. So that's why it is throwing a name error. Okay. So let's try to do some more operations in integers. One is addition. Let's say there is a is equal to 1, b is equal to 3. Now let's have a c is equal to a plus b. So what it will do is it will first take the value of a, which is 1, and the value of b, which is 3, then 3 plus 1 4, and when we hit return, it will make the value of 4 into c. Now we can check it. If you can see, like, okay, one very important thing to notice here we are just typing c and pressing enter. What is happening is this value is getting returned back to the interpreter, like from the interpreter to your console, basically your interactive interface. In this case it's terminal. But if you want to print the value of c from your file, you have to write something like this. Okay, then it will print it on the screen. So again, let's very quickly do some operations. Let's say what will be a into b, that is 1 into 3, it will be 3 again. Now let's exit again, just to do some more examples. Why am I exiting again and again, you might ask? So that it will help us make better videos. Okay. Let's say there is a variable x1 which have a value of 20, and there is a variable x2 which have a value of 10. Remember here I have used symbol x for both of the variables, but one thing to notice is this is x1, this is x2. So you can have variable name with alphanumeric characters, right? And it can also have underscores. Okay, and there is variable x3 which is 2. Now let's say we want to do some addition and multiplication. Let's say result is equal to x1 plus x2 into x3. Now let's check the value of result. This is 40, which is correct because here it is 10 into 2, which is 20. 20 plus 20 is equal to 40. Okay, similarly now there's one more concept. Let me explain it. That's very cool concept actually. So let's say now we want to let's say if we do something like this, what we are doing is we are calculating x into x, that is x is x3 into x3, which is 2 into 2, which is square of 2. Another way of calculating the square of a number is like this. If you have two asterisk symbol and then whatever else you write on the right hand side of it, that will means x3 to the power 2, which is 2 to the power 2, which is 4. So here you can compute any multiple times the value, that is x3 into x3 into x3, how many number of times. Let's say 4, which is 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 8, 256. 8 bit contains 256 possible combinations. Yeah, so I think this is all about integers. Now let's again exit it and clear. Now let's talk about float. So what is float? Now there is one very important thing to know. 1.0 is not an integer in terms of computers, because in computer if there is a decimal in any number, that by default becomes a float irrespective what is on the right hand side of it. For such as these two numbers, they both have the same type. We can check it also. So type of A here is float, right? Which is also interesting thing to notice. And type of B is also float. You can see. So float means, think of it like a number which have decimal values also. Okay, and similar to what we used to do, we can also do all the operations of divide, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So let me show you what is the simple for division, which I haven't shown you till now. It is, let's say we have a variable q which is equal to, let's say 21, and we want to do q divided by 2. So this slash is a symbol we use for division in, I think most of the languages have this symbol. So yes, okay. And one more thing to notice in this. Now let's say we only want to calculate the integer part of it. So we can do is whatever result we have, that is 10.5, convert it to integer. Int is a function in which if you pass whatever value, it will only give the result which is on the left hand side of the decimal point, which is int. Okay, so you can also check it. Let's say res. Okay, so now let's move on to some other concepts. Okay, now we know what is an integer, we know what is a float, how integers and floats are different. Floats have decimal point. 1.0 is a float, although in the number line it will lie exactly where 1 is lying. Okay, so now again let's move to another topic which is very interesting topic, which are strings. So before beginning with the strings part directly, let's just recap. what we have done till now. So remember, you can also use Python 3 here. Yeah, Python 3 means specifically open Python 3 in case the keyword Python is tied to Python 2 version. Okay, so let me just showcase you in very short. So if a is equal to, let's say, 2, which is an integer, what operations can we perform? We can perform addition, which is this, let's say, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Similar operations can be performed on floats as well, and you can also use this cool trick to calculate the power of a integer or a float number. 2 to the power 10 is 1024. That is 10-bit contains these many possible combinations. Okay, so basically we can use double quotes to represent a string. So we can either write whatever, basically any character you can think of. Even this is a string, even this is a string, and this is also a string. Yes, so whatever is inside these double quotes is a form of a string. So let's say we assign it to variable h1. So in string there's a concept called indexing. Indexing means just like in a colony we have house numbers, so in a string we have indexation. Indexation means think of it like a ID. So the first element will have index 0, second will have index 1, third will have index 2, and since the indexation starts from 0, so if suppose a string have 5 characters in it, the fifth character will have indexation of 4, that is n minus 1, where n is the total number of characters. Why is it so? Because the indexation is starting from 0, not 1. How to calculate the number of characters present in a list? Use len function, pass the name of the variable, and it will tell you. So in this case there are 9 characters. Let's count: 1 2 3 4 5. Then there is one space here: 6 7 8 and 9. Total 9 characters are here. Okay, now let's say there is a second variable which is also a string. Now these two variables, right, they both are not equal. Two strings are equal when the information in both of them is exactly same. So in h1 and h2, if you see, the first character h, one is small and second one is capital character. Okay, you can check it also, h1 double equal to h2. So this double equal to symbol is used for comparison, and if they both are not same, it will return false. Here, as you can also see, it is false. Now let's say we want to convert h2 to everything lowercase. So there is something called lower function, which if you call, it will convert everything to lowercase. But since we have not reassigned this value to h2, so if you press h2, it will still remain the same here. So how to do that? It's like this. Okay, so now let's try to use more of the functions. Let me exit, and yeah, so let's say take this example, hello world. Now let's say we want to put everything uppercase. Okay, so what we can do is we can use the upper function. So we use upper, and then everything is in the uppercase. Similarly, there is a concept called capitalize. Capitalize means the first character will be in the uppercase and everything else will be in the lowercase. As you can see, the first character is in uppercase and everything else is in the lowercase. Now we also know, let's calculate the length. Okay, so the length will not get affected because we are just updating the characters, not increasing or decreasing the number of characters in that list. Okay, now let's say we want to calculate in this A, how many times the character L have appeared. So how to count? There is a function called count, in which you have to pass the character which you want to count, and it will return 3 in this case, because it is appeared 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, there is also something called let's say okay, now for us to check if something is alphabet or have a numeric information also, is called is alpha. So if all the information are of alphabetical type, it will return true, otherwise false. Why it is false? Because we have a space here. If you see any space is not an alphabet. Okay, so now let's see some more operations, and then we will proceed with some more cool concepts of string. Okay, so the next concept is, let's say we want to search for a particular index of a character. So in this A, oh, let's just refresh it, or just open a new interpreter. So let's say there is a string A which is hello all there, and we want to find the in this all, the index of all, that is in this string what is the index of all. Here it says 6. Let's count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it will tell you the index of the first character of this all, which is A, which is 6 in this case. Okay, also there is one more thing, there is one more function called index. In this also you can pass, and it will also tell you, but there is one slight change in the behavior of both of these functions. In case of find, okay, if this particular character or group of character is not matched, it will return -1, while this A dot index, it will throw an exception. What are exceptions? We will know more about exception handling, exceptions in our next videos. Okay, just keep this thing in mind, they have slightly different behavior, find and index. Okay, now let's move on to next concept. So let's say you want to replace, okay, so there is a keyword called del. Using the del, we can delete any information related to a variable, even subpart of a variable. That is, we can delete A. Now if you try to print A, it's not there. Okay, but if we, let's say, do something like this, hello world, and then this will throw an error. The reason is because in a string this particular operation, that is deleting by passing the index information directly to the del keyword, is not allowed. So how to, let's say, update the particular information or replace it? So there is a particular, even a nice way to do it is replace. In this you can pass the element or the character which you want to replace. Let's say it is world, and we want to replace this with all, and now if you see it's returned hello all. Now let's try to print A. It's still hello world. The reason is we have not reassigned it, so we have to do something like this. Now it is hello all. Okay, let's do one interesting thing now. Remember I said we cannot use the del keyword with index information to delete particular element from a list, not list, string. Okay, so you heard it. Well, list is different than strings. Okay, lists are way more cooler. We will know about them in our next videos. Okay, so let's say A is equal to hello world, and we want to replace what? Let's say replace a of 0. This is very evil to do with nothing in presenter. What I did is it replaced h with nothing, so h is removed. Okay, so if we update it, update means reinitialized. Let's do one thing. Now calculate the length of a, which is 11. Now calculate the length of a, it is 10, because the h is removed. Again you can do it. Now it is 9 and it is he is removed. So this way you can read information from a string from the index 0, and then as soon as you read it, you can keep on removing it. Okay, so what we learned in strings, we learned about what are the strings, some basic operations that we can perform in strings, that is uppercase, lowercase, capitalized, how to find, how to replace, what is a del keyword, why cannot we use it in case of string, and then you came to know by mistake about list, and yeah, list are slightly much cooler than strings. Okay, just to give you one concept here, you can convert a string to a list. Okay, let's exit from it and then we'll do. So let's say there is this particular string and we want to make a list out of it. So there is something called split, and we can pass any character. Let's say we pass space in this case, and it gave us a list. If you notice these two brackets, these are symbols we used for list. Okay, and in list you can use the del keyword. Let me just show you. So the type of queue is a list, and this is queue, and you can use this operation, which is very cool to do. Yeah, it saves tons of our time. Yeah. Okay, so in short, most of the operations of string we have covered. Even by mistake I spoke of list, and we know very basic thing about list also, at least one difference we know, right? In the next video, instead of directly jumping to the concept of list, okay, for you people who have already worked on some other languages, so a list, think of it like a very advanced form of arrays. Okay, so yeah, in the next videos we will know about relational operators, logical operators, if, else, and match case conditional statements, and also how to run the code directly from a file instead of using interpreter that we are doing currently in this video, and in the previous one we had done that. Till then, bye bye, take care, have a good time.